Hello there. How's it going? So, if you're watching this, you're probably trying to scale a coaching business. You're probably maybe started one, maybe you have one, maybe you're thinking about starting one, maybe you have one, but it's just not as working as much as you would like. Then this is going to be the video for you. So if you're a coach, consultant, any person like that, you can keep watching this because I'm going to answer majority of the doubts that you might be having in your mind, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what's been able to help me scale coaching businesses extremely fast. And if you don't know who I am, you can just go check out my channel. I've tons of results, tons of case studies. Check out my Instagram, loads of them over there, showing exactly how I scale coaching businesses and how I do it very efficiently without much effort, without much work. So if you were trying to do that, this video is going to be extremely valuable, so make sure you watch it till the end, and let's just dive right into it. So let me talk about the insights that have allowed me to scale coaching businesses extremely fast. So you want to kind of imagine your coaching business as kind of like one singular reality, in a sense. Like, I'm not gonna get too woo-woo over here, but I want you guys to understand this. So let's say this is you right now. Let's say you're a health coach. Let's say you help people with like health and stuff like that. Like, you help people with like the most key things, which is like health, relationships, wealth, and like, all those types of stuff. So they say you help people with like health. So right now, let's say you're probably stuck around like 5K a month and you just can't book appointments. Like, you just can't. It's like you probably get maybe like 3 or 4 appointments organically, maybe 2 of them actually show up, and then 2 of them actually say, oh, I like your stuff, but I need to think about it, and like it just goes around the cycle. So that is like your current state right now. You're in like what I like to call basically I like to call it the current state. Current state is pretty much like broke, no appointments, basically booking around 4 calls a month, and like you are not like booking the calls you like. So let me give you the good news. The reality of you booking a ton of calls and making extremely way more money than you have right now already exists. And I want you guys to kind of like picture this. And so, for example, if you're a health coach right now, and like let's say you're just coaching people anything regardless, and like maybe you're in a similar situation, you're just stuck, you can't like get past it. There is a reality of you booking appointments, making money, taking sales calls, like having a packed out calendar, people that actually want to buy your stuff. Like, that exists. And I want you guys to understand that, because like you wouldn't be able to get there if it didn't exist, essentially. So you need to visualize that those things actually exist. And the reason why they exist is because other people have been able to do the same thing. You see what I mean? So if you're a health coach, you probably know who your competitors are. You probably know who the best in your industries are, and they're not having the issues you're having. So if someone has been able to solve the problem that you're currently facing, then it's very likely that you are also going to be able to solve that problem as well too, because there's already a blueprint. You see what I mean? So all of these realities of, let's say you making like 20K a month this year, 100K a month this year, 50K a month this year, 60K a month this year, let's say like 70K a month this year, like all of these exist, like they're there, it's real. The problem though is that you can't actually get them, because the chances of them happening to you in your current state right now is like 1 out of 1,000 or something like that. It's like extremely unlikely for you to get to that reality when in your current state right now, based on the knowledge that you have. The reason is because of multiple different factors. It could be stuff like, your offer might not be as irresistible, maybe your appointment setting system might not be as irresistible, maybe your content is wrong, maybe it's attracting the wrong people, maybe your sales is bad. So all of these variables, they all just like stack up. So it's like, it's not something that's linear. Like, everything just all stacks up on top of each other. So it's like you have sales, you have appointment setting, you have content and marketing, like you have all these, like you have your VSL, you have your sales process. There's just a bunch of stuff that just stack and make the variables extremely like high. Like, it just makes it like messy, and you can't like get to that. You can't get to these realities if the odds are just stacked against you. So the logical thing to do is to obviously reduce the basically like make the odds more in your favor, in a sense. And the way that you do this is by acquiring knowledge on how to actually do these things and the process to actually get you there. Because most of the time people have goals, and like people are like this, like they have their goal, and the goal is like over here. So like, this is the happy guy, and this is like the sad guy, and this guy's extremely happy. He's making like 100K a month or whatnot. People usually think that it's a straight line, but in reality it's actually not. In reality, you actually have like steps. You have like big steps, you have small steps. It's kind of like this. To kind of get to that 100k month, there's like a bunch of different steps that you have to take to actually get there, essentially. So all these steps could be like, number one, offer. This one can also be like, number one, content, and then this one can be sales, and then there's just a bunch of different steps that are in there. So what's basically making the odds extremely unlikely in your favor in your current state right now is, number one, you don't know what steps to take. And number two, you don't know what to do if, let's say, for example, you take the wrong step. And number three, you just lack the knowledge to actually get you to that place. You just simply lack it. Because if you lack the knowledge, if you knew what the knowledge was and you did the actions, you wouldn't be watching this video, essentially. So it's like, you need to understand these things, because this thing, like I just said, it already exists. Even for me, it exists, where it's like that current state of me doing those like crazy numbers, like they're there. But it's like, to get to that point, you need to understand what is required to actually push you towards that. And the only thing that you're missing is pretty much like reducing the variables, understanding, the things that are basically stopping you from getting there, and optimizing them so that the odds are in your favor. So that's kind of like the major insight. So it's like, number one insight, like I said, the reality of you making the money you want to make already exists. It's there, like it's just visual. And number two, the main thing is that there are basically a lot of people that have already done the things and solved the problems that you're trying to solve by yourself. They already have them laid out. So now we've figured out that, okay, cool, to get to this reality where we are making the money we want to make, we want to reduce the odds, we want to make the odds more in our favor as humanly possible. So how the heck do you actually do that? So the way that you do that is super simple. Like I said, you just need to know shit, okay? Because let me explain what most of the common coaches I know and most of the common people that have scaled their stuff extremely well have in common, essentially. So a lot of the times they have something like this in common. I'm gonna type out for you. They do a bunch of shit, and like that might say, oh, like of course they do, but like let me explain what I mean by this. So when someone is starting out, they might have like the idea of like, oh, let me just like do this specific thing. Let me just like send out this amount of outreach. Maybe I should not even outreach. Maybe I should like make this specific type of content. Maybe I should run this specific type of ad. They'll do something, and then like if something doesn't work, they just fall back and be like, oh, I tried it. Mountain, it didn't work. I don't know what to do now. This doesn't look like it's going to work. But the people that do make it out, they've tested out 5 different offers. Like literally, they've tested out 5 different offers. They've made they made like 200 pieces of content. They've literally taken so many different steps. They'll force themselves to be in sales schools. It's like they're doing so much to the point that they just get so much data, and they basically just make the odds more in their favor every single time. So when you do something for so long, you just know how to make the odds in your favor. It's very simple. It's like if you're playing a sport, if you're playing football, for example, and like you are like kicking the ball, and let's say if you hit the ball this specific way, it does this specific thing. So if you want to make it do a specific thing, you have to hit it in a specific way. But the only reason you know that is because you have a bunch of data by kicking the ball a lot. Like that's what I'm basically trying to say. But the problem with this, again, there's lots of problems with these types of things, is that majority of coaches can't actually like do those inputs extremely fast. So what ends up happening is that the coaches that actually succeed the fastest is that they realize, okay, cool, I need to do this amount of like volume to actually get there, because the more just raw things I do, the more of it just like reduces, like gets the odds more into my favor. You see what I'm trying to say? The more shit you do, the more the odds are in your favor, because you have more data on how shit works. So what you basically need to do is 2 things. Number one, you do more shit. Like you do a bunch of stuff. Like you try a bunch of angles, you try a bunch of things, you do them for a prolonged period of time. As a result, you're going to gather so much data on what actually works. You're going to understand so much things that you didn't know prior, that's going to help you be like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. That's like the long route if you want to go take that. Like that's a route that a lot of coaches have taken. It's fine. Like it's okay to do that. And then second route is to be smarter with your time and actually invest or like work with someone that knows what they're doing, that's already made those mistakes, or has worked with people who have made those mistakes, so that they can guide you to do this and this. Because what that person would do is just significantly put the odds into your favor. So you are not basically having a 1 to 1,000 odd. You're basically having more of like a 1 to 5 odd of you succeeding, or maybe like a 1 to 2 odd of you succeeding, or like you having like, let's say like 80% success rate, 90%, compared to like 0.01% success rate, because you've worked with someone that has so much data that they can just implement it and be like, hey, don't do this, do this, do this, do this. That's why when, like, you know, football players work with coaches, for example, like football coaches, they just teach them the things that they shouldn't do. It's like they're doing stuff their own, like, hey, actually don't do that, like do it this way, and they're like, oh, they've just saved themselves like months of just like doing the wrong thing. It's like, that's why people who have like personal trainers and consistent tend to get into shape faster than other people's that don't, because they have someone that's like, hey, don't do that, do this, and all they are basically doing is they're not guaranteeing your success. They're just putting the odds of success more in your favor, and that's all you need to do. Because like I said before, the reality of you making the money you wanted to make is already there. It literally exists. It's like you don't have to, you can visualize it, but it's literally there. If you want to make 30k, 50k, 100k a month, it's literally there. It exists in front of you, but you just need someone to put you on a path to get there, and basically put the odds of success and the odds of you getting to the reality in your favor. And once I realized this, that was like the major thing that shifted everything for me, because all I realized is that, okay, cool, I'm just working towards something that already exists. It's not this arbitrary figure that I haven't heard about. It actually works. It's actually there. So that's the main thing you guys need to realize, because once you get to that, once you realize that, you're going to be okay with messing up. You're going to be okay with like putting out money to invest in a program. You're going to be okay with doing all these things, because all you're doing is you're basically just putting the odds in your favor. You're just doing that. You're breaking down all of the variables that can like influence your success. You're doing them, and then as a result, your odds from 0.01% of success turns from that to like 80% in record-breaking time. And that's how you scale these things extremely fast. And I'm fortunate enough to have worked with tons of coaches and to have gathered tons of data to understand how all these things work. So when coaches do work with me, they see results, guess what, extremely faster than they would have seen it by themselves, because I have data and I basically come in and increase the odds of them succeeding. Okay? That's the major thing I want you guys to understand. So if you're struggling to like, you know, scale your coaching business, or like, you know, get it to the numbers you want to make, the good news, like I said, it's already there. The news that you probably don't want to hear, but you need to hear, is that you basically have to get there. To fast track that, you have to work with someone that knows what they're doing. And if you're interested to know what we do, to how we scale coaching businesses, how we pretty much like fill out the calendars, make sure they have qualified sales goals, and make sure that they're closing the deals they want to do by building our content and appointment sets of systems into their businesses that pretty much just do stuff completely done for you. And you can go check that out. We only bring on 3 people every single month, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you value, and I'm excited to see you in the next one. If you're interested, links in the description. Let's talk and let's go from there. Peace.